Well, Season 2 of Gen V is over, and I thought it was okay. Like, it's definitely worse than Season 1, but it did enough to make me remember that Season 5 of The Boys will happen sometime next year. However, with Season 5 probably wrapping things up, this season has to spend a decent amount of time tying these characters to the main story. Also, unfortunately, Andre's actor, Chance Perdomo, was killed in a motorcycle accident, and Andre was written out of the story in a heroic sacrifice, which was definitely the right and more respectful thing to do, and I think they did a great job of fluently writing Andre out of the story, while still having him impact the characters, especially his dad. Polarity got a lot more screen time, and for me personally, he's probably one of the best characters now. Speaking of the characters, the rest are pretty mixed. Emma and Sam are still pretty good. I think Emma's new way to shrink and grow suits her, and the fact that she can now grow really just pushes her character forward. And Sam's still the same. There's nothing crazy like that amazing puppet scene from the first season, but he's still pretty fun. However, the others didn't quite do it for me, and I think this is because of the main problem with the show. It is way too long. And because of that, we got a good chunk of episodes that feel the same. The gang spent an episode putting together a plan to get a leg up on the villain. There's some friend fights along the way. The plan fails, and then the villain just gives them what they wanted because it turns out the thing was pointless. Kate spends most of the show either apologizing to the group or being mad towards the group. Marie's sister Annabeth is barely in the show, and Jordan and Marie spend most of their time arguing with each other. Speaking of that, why was Jordan fine with Marie willingly bloodbending them before the final battle? Back when Marie first bloodbended Jordan, they said the feeling was worse than mind control. They should have been pissed that Marie did that again. That's a more believable reason for breaking up rather than just being mad that Marie snuck out of Edgar's bunker. I don't know. I just think in this case less would have been more, and I wouldn't have minded a shorter season that focused on tying Gen V to the boys, and showing us more of the state of the world before season 5. Speaking of the boys, the cameos were also pretty hit and miss for me. Though there's definitely a lot more hits than misses, most of the cameos are worked into the world pretty well, and don't really overstay their welcome. But man, those Starlight cameos were rough. She straight up was not the same person who at the end of season 4 of The Boys was very depressed and had only just got her powers working again. She was acting more like Nick Fury. Her lines felt so generic, and at the end of the show, we see that she has put a team together. That team being her and A-Train.
I'm here to talk to you about the Avenger Initiative.
You want to join the Resistance?
Another problem this season is that these powers are getting ridiculous. Marie can now basically use the Force. It was fine when she did it in the first season because all she was doing was putting blood back in a wound and closing it up. Now, she can heal burned skin, create brain tissue, and bring people back from the dead.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
This isn't bloodbending anymore. This is Force healing!
Anger is not the way of the Jedi!
Her sister has the opposite problem. Her power is that she can see glimpses of the future, and in episode 7 she has a vision of Marie dead, covered in blood, in this training room at the school. And because of this she tries to stop Marie from going back to the school, but Marie does. And doesn't die. Maybe this will pay off in the next season of The Boys, but right now it just feels like a cheap way to create tension. However, I have yet to talk about what I hated most about this season, that being the villain, Dean Cypher, aka Thomas Godolkin. And just for the sake of convenience, I'm just gonna refer to him as Cypher. I really hate the smart scientist villain who's always 2 steps ahead of everyone and can predict anything in the script, because most of the time it's not done very well and it's just used for plot convenience. However, this guy is actually competent and menacing for a bit, probably due to the fact that we don't know anything about him at the start, and the first couple times he cracked a joke, I was laughing with him, not at him. But man, did I get tired of him real quick. Most of the episodes this season consist of our heroes trying to get some dirt on him or get a leg up on him, only to fail, get a belittling quip thrown at them, and then our genius villain just give them what they wanted anyway. I guess it's some sort of power move to show that it means nothing. Again, as I said earlier, there's a lot of repetition. And speaking of those power moves, there's a moment where Cypher is talking to Polarity about how he killed his son, and Polarity then proceeds to try to stab him with a knife, however decides not to. But then, Cypher grabs the knife and just stabs his own hand.
What the fuck?
As what I can only assume, again, is some sort of power move. And he then says that Polarity has no idea what he's dealing with.
You really have no idea what you're dealing with.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
This, I guess, is meant to scare the audience, because, again, up to this point, we don't know what his powers are. But for me, I'm just trying to work out why he did that. Did I miss something? His powers aren't regeneration or rubber skin or anything. All he can do is mind control. Bro, why'd you do that? The funny thing is, after he stabs himself, this guy spends the rest of the show with a bandage around his hand. I truly do not understand why he did that, what that was meant to show. From my perspective, he just looks like he wants to hurt himself. Another thing that pisses me off about this guy is that he is so vague and cryptic about his plans to everyone he talks to. Throughout the show, he just keeps yapping about his plans for Marie and that he wants to help her. However, when anyone with or against him asks him what he means by that, he will either ignore them, say a belittling joke, or say something even more vague.
What's your background? Like, how did you come to whatever method that you're
Hey,
using?
why don't you tell me?
And what happens if I can do this?
Miracles.
What are you doing?
That was fantastic.
This happens so much that it gets to a point that in episode 5, Jordan just snaps and tells him to either shut up or just say what he wants with Marie. And of course, Cypher's response is just more vague garbage. Just because you're self-aware about how annoying one of your characters is, doesn't mean that that character can continue to be annoying. This guy is so vague and acts so uninterested in what's going on and tells so many stupid jokes.
They're human, but they bring you shit all the time. It's like their job, you know? What a world.
He's not right.
I beg to differ. I'm pretty right. Well, as far as first times go, I'd say that was shit.
Overall, this season did its job. It reminded me that The Boys is still a thing, and it set up the Gen V cast into the final season of The Boys. So good job, I guess. Also, if you know why this dumbass stabbed himself, please tell me in the comments. I'm still so confused by this man.
Don't you want that too?
We need music.
6 out of 10. If you enjoyed this video, then why not like and subscribe? It helps support the channel and it means you don't miss any new content. Thanks for watching.